Good morning and welcome to August 1st, 2012. This is GardenStateWeather.com, New Jersey and the Northern Mid-Atlantic region's weather news portal. I'm forecaster Robert Smith with the in-depth forecast analysis video discussion for this Wednesday, which is the first day of August. And this morning we're starting off with a few showers, maybe perhaps an even embedded thunderstorm here going over the city and Staten Island this morning. Some of this rainfall could be coming down at about a quarter to a half of an inch, so there's a little area flood advisory here until 8:15 this morning from the National Weather Service for some of that heavy rain. Temperatures are around 75 starting out in the city this morning, and pretty uniform down to 73 in Philadelphia. And back down into the northern mid-Atlantic, temperatures are in the low 70s as well. And we've got one disturbance here off the Virginia coast, and that is providing some lift here with some very moderate to heavy rain now entering portions of Delaware and also portions of Maryland. Water vapor loop this morning shows us a weakening frontal boundary here crossing through western and central Pennsylvania this morning, and there's a lot of dry air here behind this, so the atmosphere could become a little bit more destabilizing as we head into the afternoon hours, and I'll explain why in just a moment. These upper wind barbs here are the high density winds at about 10,000 feet and higher up in the atmosphere all the way to the top of the troposphere, and you can see the flow is still from the southwest to the west over the region. We have one weak surface wave passing off the Virginia coast this morning, the Delmarva region, and that is providing for some rain across the region. If we take a look at the radar, we can see a few swaths of rain here, as we mentioned, over the Delmarva region. Another little swath of rain getting into the city and the lower Hudson Valley, and that should scoot on out of here and take the radar back off. And temperatures are once again in the upper 60s to lower 70s, and what's more important is the air is saturated because temperature dew points are generally running from the mid 60s to around 70 degrees. And the atmosphere is filled with a lot of precipitable water values here, anywhere from 1.5 inches to about almost 2 inches across the Hudson Valley, New Jersey, New York City, down through the Delmarva. And the precipitation becomes a little bit less, but still there is a chance for any convection or showers to develop this afternoon in a flow that is very light, and that extends all the way up into the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. So these will be slow-moving storms with heavy downpours. The threat for severe convection today is limited. However, there is going to be some convection, and some of these stronger cells could produce very strong winds, lightning, and very heavy downpours, which will be slow movers and cause the area to have some small advisories for small street and urban flooding throughout the region. GOES satellite sounding over New York City early this morning shows that the lower layers of the atmosphere, up to about 900 millibars, or about 4,500 feet up in the atmosphere, is pretty moist, and then the air begins to dry out a little bit as we get into the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. But this skinny cape here, or positive area where air parcels are able to rise from the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, generally means that any kind of precipitation that occurs today will be locally heavy and also slow movers. And we can see the flow here from the southwest and then the west as we get to the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, and the flow is very light. So any of these storms that do develop across the region during today will contain very heavy downpours, which could possibly lead to some localized flooding issues. And as one would expect with all the cloud cover coming out of the New Jersey, New York City area this morning, there's a lot of haze on the water and an overcast sky. Light shot, but the sea swells are coming in, so there's a moderate risk of rip currents today along the New Jersey coastal facing beaches, but there are no other small craft advisories in effect for the entire New Jersey, New York City metropolitan area or the New Jersey beaches at this time, but there is a moderate risk of rip currents today with these swells coming in at 2 to 3 feet per second. And the Storm Prediction Center is placing us later this afternoon in a general area of showers and thunderstorms capable of strong downpours and some, basically what we're looking at is heavy downpours, some lightning, but mostly heavy downpours and some strong gusty winds in any of these storms. And as we propagate through the afternoon into the overnight hours, a general chance of showers and thunderstorms will be in the forecast throughout the region. This morning we'll use the NCEP Rapid Refresh Model Composite Reflectivity Forecast going forward through the next 18 hours. Starting out, probably this is a little bit overdone this morning, but we can generally see throughout the day the flow here is from the southwest, so we're going to have some showers and thunderstorms which will be burgeoning across the region, especially in the unstable air mass. And if we can break the cap today, convective temperatures will be met. Skies will break for sun, hazy sun, very humid and warm conditions today, and temperatures getting back into the 80s. And we could have periods where we're going to see scattered to isolated showers and perhaps low top thunderstorms, which will produce once again some very heavy downpours. There'll be slow moving storms, but the upper trough is weakening as the cold front comes through and pretty much weakens across the area during late this afternoon and tonight. So the convection should begin to die down, and some much drier air, I should say not really much drier air, but drier air should be in place for later tonight and tomorrow morning. And that will mean that we're probably not going to see much in the way of organized precipitation on Thursday. Temperature forecast from Penn State's Ewald Site's NAM WRF composite map here shows that basically over the next couple of days we're going to be dealing with temperatures rising from the 60s and lower 70s in the soupy air mass in the New Jersey, New York City metropolitan area and the Delmarva as well. And temperatures will be rising steadily into the 80s, but they will remain in the upper 70s and 80s along the coast, where temperatures inland on a southwest flow will probably get into the upper 80s and possibly even 90 degrees in the metropolitan areas, especially as we approach Friday afternoon and into the weekend. Temperatures could be really running into the low and mid 90s with very high dew points and very uncomfortable conditions. And also the threat for showers and thunderstorms will be increasing over the area as these disturbances move through. There'll be a second cold front coming through, passing through the area sometime later Saturday, possibly passing through late Saturday night and Sunday morning, and that's where the threat for convection and shower activity will increase once again. Outside of these fronts washing out, very warm, humid conditions will return with temperatures running in the 80s and 90s and very uncomfortable air over the forecast region through the weekend. Forecast maps for today. We can see the front falling apart, frontalysis happening across the region this afternoon as that front and upper trough begin to weaken a little bit. The flow is going to become more zonal over the next couple of days, definitely also from the southwest at the surface, so it's going to pump up a lot of moisture, continuing to feed very humid and warm conditions increasing throughout the New Jersey, New York City metro area. As we get through the day on Thursday, brief high pressure will build across the region, expecting mostly partly to mostly sunny day and not expecting much in the way of precipitation on Thursday. Of course, there will be boundaries around, and there will be an upper level trough still in place across the region, so that any one of these disturbances could produce a localized or isolated shower or thunderstorm, especially as we get through the day on Friday. And I said isolated because most of the time precipitation will be removed from the forecast. And there'll be a second front approaching the region on Friday. This front again will try to pass through the area later on Saturday and Saturday night. But what's going to happen here is it's probably going to wash out and wait for another stronger disturbance to approach the upper Great Lakes and southeastern Canada on Sunday. And this front looks to try to make it through the area probably sometime Monday afternoon or Monday evening, and that's where later Sunday or Monday we could be looking at the threat for isolated and more scattered showers and thunderstorms across the region. So once again, do be mindful of rip currents if you're going to the beaches today, and remember that any shower or thunderstorm can contain lightning, very heavy downpours, and strong brief gusty winds, which could cause local urban and street flooding because the atmosphere is so saturated. I'll be back on Thursday morning for the latest weather information and live content 24 hours a day. It's GardenStateWeather.com. I'm forecaster Robert Smith. Have a great day and a very good start to August.